So the third story arc within the amazing X-Wing Rogue Squadron series is titled Battleground Tatooine. Battleground Tatooine. It consists of the four issues, issues number 9, 10, 11, and 12. And what I appreciate about this particular story arc is it slows things down. As I mentioned and highlighting in other videos, the other story arcs, Rebel Opposition as well as Phantom Affair, super adrenaline rush, super fun, non-stop action. But this one slows things down. So I'm sure it was intentional, because this is a way that we can slow down, get to know the characters even more, their traits, and their banter with each other, which is always super fun. So I really like that. That's one highlight among many that I have with Battleground Tatooine. I think the action and the drama and the dialogue was just had a very good balance. So yeah, definitely slows things down. We're revealed actually where it starts off, first of all, with Admiral Akbar talking with Wedge, and he's discussing about this Imperial HoloNet receiver that has important information. So Admiral Akbar apparently has an agent in Tatooine, and he sees that this is escalating. The situation down in Tatooine is becoming a little more aggressive and delicate. So he assigns Rogue Squadron, Wedge, to go down to Tatooine and assist this agent, which at first it's a mystery. There's dialogue about this mystery, like who this agent is. One of them guesses right. I'm going to spoil it. The agent is Winter. The reason why I'm spoiling this is because I've always loved Winter throughout the novels. She obviously helps a lot and takes care of the kids, the solo kids, but I feel that she's put on the sidelines as a character. Yes, she's important, we know that, but she's put on the sidelines in the novels, my humble opinion. Here, even though she's not front and center, she's involved. She's an New Republic agent, and helps Admiral Akbar in these missions and these assignments. So we see her, and she is, I'm not exaggerating, she's a badass. And I love that. I love that they pretty much put a spotlight many times throughout the series, X-Wing Rogue Squadron, on Winter. So we see her as we usually wouldn't see her when we read the novels. So I love that. So another thing I found interesting is the rogues are invited to this ceremony hosted by Huff Darklighter, Biggs Darklighter's dad, which we know who Biggs is from the movies. And he's holding like a memorial for his son. And that's where they're going to rendezvous, Rogue Squadron, rendezvous with the agent, Winter. And they do. Funny moment with Tycho. So once again, reading these comics, we, apart from the novels, because the novels we get a lot from these pilots, but here in the comics, it's cool seeing their character growth and just the characters and the personalities. For example, Tycho is he's super fun character. He's a hothead. So I love seeing about these characters and reading about them as well. So apparently, this is kind of a side note within these comics, is that Huff Darklighter, as we see him having a conversation with Wedge in this ceremony, he has really high resentment towards Wedge and the Rogues because of what happened to his son in the events of A New Hope, the whole Death Star situation, and the way his son died. So he blames Wedge, apparently, as we're reading. And Wedge kind of takes a step back and tries to explain. He can sympathize with the situation, but he tries to explain that it really wasn't his fault of what happened. But Huff still has that resentment. So during this ceremony, there is a disc with sensitive information that is stolen by Huff. So there's a chase after that, and we see why people are after this disc and this information, because in this disc, it has information on how to pretty much not an instruction manual, but it has sensitive information because whoever has this can get the information from this disk and create a private army. So that way, whoever has this information can get started and govern Tatooine. So now that Jabba's out of the picture, everything's much easier, and there's a lot of infighting with the Imperial warlords as well as people on Tatooine. So a lot of people are after this information because it holds a lot of sensitive information that can legit empower somebody. It also has information on a cruiser that has the capacity to hold and transport TIE fighters. So it's a lot. So the Imperials get involved. They try to intercept whoever stole this. So we get to know who's behind everything. There is a Twi'lek that's power hungry. It's not Bib Fortuna, even though it's Tatooine, but Bib Fortuna does show up. So when we see Bib Fortuna, I actually felt sorry for him, for his condition in this comic. And he gets his at the end, I'll say that, without revealing too much. He gets his, but he's treated very poorly by this other Twi'lek, who's just, once again, power hungry. So he's kind of involved in, he is involved in this whole plot because he wants to rise up to power, govern Tatooine once again. So that's pretty much the plot and how the Agent Winter as well as Rogue Squadron are trying to control the situation and preventing this disc to fall into the wrong hands, this information to fall into the wrong hands, because it can be chaos, whoever has this, empowering somebody in the wrong way. So even though I really enjoyed this, and I enjoy every single issue, this is just, I wouldn't even say a gripe. It's actually almost like a compliment, if you think about it. There is a character that was introduced in the first story arc, which I loved. I love the direction that they took this character. And here, this person is fired from Rogue Squadron towards the end, with reason. She doesn't think about the safety of her fellow pilots. She sees one thing and she's insubordinate. Obviously, Wedge can't have that, so he fires this individual. And I was disappointed because I wanted this person to show up more in the story arcs in this comic, because I got attached to her. So as a compliment, this character was written so well that you get attached to her, so you wanted more. So in a way, I'm saying it like a compliment, but with disappointment as well. But that's not the direction the story went, which is fine. The treat, though, is that this character appears later on down the timeline in the novels. So once I read the novels, wow, I loved the connection, and that this person shows up once again later on down the line to help. So that was extremely cool. So yes, Battleground Tatooine, third story arc. Once again, do not jump in right off the bat from this series. You straight from the beginning. Go straight from the beginning, Rebel Opposition, and read the rest. But super fun. Loved it. X-Wing comics don't disappoint for sure.